having found your piece of land, having properly investigated all the different cost implications, it's now time to decide whether this is a viable proposition. Is it a deal or no deal? What we're going to do in this video is move from being indecisive to being decisive, from not wasting time to being efficient with our time, from moving either into the piece of ground, in other words buying it, or moving on to the next one because this one is no longer viable. Hi, my name is Jim J. Davidson and I've been involved in property since 1973 when my brother and I purchased a flat in the student area of Edinburgh. Ever since then I've been interested in property as a form of wealth creation. My current company, Fineside Developments, was established in 2003 and completed its first new build in 2006. And I hope you will join me on this journey as perhaps you start your own property journey. For context, we are in the find it phase and the deal stage. In this business, you have to make sure it works. You can't just be hopeful it works because it has too many financial implications and it will destroy your ability to build a successful and large property business. In YouTube, we have another video which talks about this information in greater detail. In other words, how to value a plot. But what I'm going to just go over here is some of the metrics that you are going to want to consider. So the first thing is, before you would build anything, you've got to know what it's likely to sell for. You then need to have a profit that you are willing to accept. Now you have to determine what that profit is for yourself. The industry average that people talk about is generally around 25%. It certainly doesn't want to be any lower than that. You may decide that you want a higher profit margin than that, and providing you can make the figures work, then why not? The third thing is you need to know your build costs. Now, you're not going to know the exact build cost for the proposition that you're looking at because you won't have any particular drawings at this stage, but you should know what your average costs are and you need to sort of establish that at least. And then that finally tells you what the land is worth to you. And in the future video, we'll talk about how you negotiate this price. But this would be the absolute maximum in this example that you would want to pay for that land, because by paying no more than that, it satisfies your profit, which is essentially why you're in this business in the first place, and providing you sell that. If of course you don't sell it for that amount, that's going to eat into your profit. So if you pay too much for your land here, then you're already eating into your profit before you even get started, and that makes absolutely no sense. As I said, one of the most important things there is to know what the sales price is. So how we do establish that? One is you can look at land registry for prices sold. You can have a look at the market in general, what things are selling for currently. So you're looking at current properties that are selling for around that price. And then if they sell, you can then follow up and find out what they did sell, because the asking price may not necessarily be the amount that they sold for. A word of warning, I wouldn't be too reliant on the likes of Zoopla. They provide prices for the market value. Individual owners of those properties can actually manipulate those prices, because they can say, I completely did a renovation on that house and they maybe didn't, and therefore I believe the value is such. Zoopla will review that and often they will up the price. I had a situation where the property that I owned, and I had managed to up the price, and I wasn't doing it maliciously, but I suggested that I'd spent this amount on it, and they simply added that plus a margin on top of that onto the property, and it came out with a price that was just crazy. That property was never going to sell for that price, and in fact, indeed, eventually when I did sell that property, it didn't sell for that price. No nothing that I didn't expect, but somebody else looking at it could have been very much misled. So now I'm going to move over to an example just to show you the spreadsheet in place and how we work through the figures. So here we have the spreadsheet which tells us essentially whether we potentially have a deal or not. The figures here at the bottom is calculated, so we have a matrix there which basically calculates what the land price would be if we got a 25% margin on this particular development, and then we have a figure where which is the actual amount. So we may have decided that we are going to pay a different price for the land, or we're looking at perhaps a situation where this is on market and therefore this would be the price that the landowner is asking for. So that would be reflected in the land price there. This would be the amount of profit that we would make, which is acceptable at 27.29%. However, that might show a much lower figure, in which case it would not be acceptable. So we put in this tab here various inputs. So we are working out, this was a two-house development. House sizes we estimated to be 149 square meters, and therefore we had worked out that the selling price would be slightly different in these cases because one had a better aspect than the other. So this is what we expected to sell the properties for. Then we added in the fees that we were paying. Now you might think this is kind of low for architects' fees, and indeed it is, but we were using an architectural technician, so that the charges were much lower. And then our estimation of services, these are the fees that we expected to pay, and for two houses obviously that then progresses up. So our build costs, we were estimating our build cost in this situation as being £800 a square metre. If there had been a garage, it would be £350 a square metre. However, there are no garages in this development. We've allowed for a 10% contingency, and then we've allowed for certain landscaping. So we're not going to put monoblock in this particular one. We're just going to use driveway. We're going to use chips for the driveway, and so we've got a much larger area on one than we do the other because there's a road leading into it, so that's going to be chips also. We haven't gone for tarmac in this situation. Then some other landscaping costs, building warranty costs, any affordable housing contributions or school contributions or road contributions. There can be a different array of things that are asked for, and so therefore we've put in the land price as 140,000. We've assumed 65% loan to value, and we've taken this out over a 12-month term with an interest rate of 9%. And we've then allowed for the selling fees. And this then brings us to the detailed analysis here, or summary should I say. So we have two units, average size 149 square meters, gross development value is 619,000 with a value per square meter of just over 2,000, development costs of 981. And then we come down through the various things here. So we got planning and building warrant fees, or building control fees, or building regulations, whatever it is known as in your area, the cost for bringing in services, build costs, contingency, driveway, landscaping, warranties, land purchase fees, in other words legal fees, and any contributions, the loan interest, and then of course we have to sell it at the end, so we have got the selling fees, which gives us a total development cost of £310,119, and therefore the land is going to be purchased at around about 140,000. As I said before, that gives us a development gross percentage on the selling price. Remember, profit margin is always on the selling price. Mistakes cost money. You either don't follow a process or you follow the process. By following the process, you know the true value of that piece of land, and that helps you in the negotiation process, which is what we're going to cover in the next video. In the meantime, why not sign up for our app where there's lots of more free content. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more videos, then click to watch the next video. Please remember to visit our website at builditandprosper.com, Together app, or click on the button on the YouTube header if you're on desktop.